we felt like some things that may have been omitted or need to be made more clear is that teachers need to have that PD and be required to use them and be required to hold students accountable for using them as well, and learn how to do that in our classrooms. We felt that we'd like to see maybe this plan in a little bit more detail. And on task 4, other suggestions, the question that we came up with is how are we going to utilize cell phone technology because it is so wireless? How can we help students to have access to that? Many of our families do have cell phones, and how can that be used, and how can we teach teachers how to use those and implement those in their classrooms so that they're not being misused?
Our group thought that technology was highly important in both 1 and 2, and the key messages in 3 we think should be communicated to the community are that we really need to emphasize the benefits of technology to our students and to the community both. We need to be able to actually show what can be done in the classroom and beyond. The key message points that we felt were kind of omitted that we weren't sure about was to explain how you can utilize the technology to help students to read and write, explain how the technology will be implemented, what's needed and the cost, what our challenges are, what will it take to get there, and how we explored every benefit, or have we explored every venue for ideas and revenues. And under that, with number 4, we thought we need to really tap into other sources of funding, whether it be grant writers, endowments from people in the community, and we also need to actually involve the students heavily in garnering community support for technology.
On task 1, we rated it a 4, very high priority. Technology without training will not accomplish the intended goals. We must capitalize on the generous partnership proposed by the St. Joseph Cablevision. It is imperative that we recognize the rapidly changing and emerging technology and how it affects our students' future ability to compete in the world we live.
Most of our information was already covered, so we're going to work on number 4. We talked about one of our speakers mentioned commodity computers, non-name brand computers, and I don't know, we weren't sure on Benton's vision if it was just to change the library to put a computer in every student's hand, and if our goal is to put a computer in every student's hand, maybe buy commodity-priced computers and use a remote server application, say like Google Docs, and save the big Microsoft fee. But looking at some things like along that line, so maybe we can save some money and get the computers a little quicker into the students' hands.
Our group, we just decided that it'd be easier to solve the world's problems, so that's what we did. Actually, talk a little bit about task number 4. We talked about online progress reports, and maybe having, going a little bit further, having actual maybe video of faculty or teachers talking about the students' progress reports, and maybe having access to that from a server. Technology shouldn't replace the personal interaction between the teacher, the person, and the students. And money spent on technology shouldn't go to just the quote sexiest thing.
We prioritized, we took on the technology at all schools. We was talking about equity and equal access. We feel that all schools should have the same technology in order for the students to be more equal, in order for the schools to be more equal. And then also on suggestions, we think that the school district needs to look for partnerships dealing with high technology for the future. It needs to just reach out for high-tech partnerships, just sort of like what you're doing with St. Joe Cablevision, and to help to fund the ideas on improving and meeting on the costs and demands.
Our group focused primarily on task 2 and felt that we didn't necessarily need to have the same technology in every single school, but it might be tiered according to whether same technology in all the high schools, all the middle schools, and all the elementaries, so that they would be comparable across those particular grade levels at the very least. And in terms of task 4, some of the things that might be considered would be things like some people have mentioned ways to save money, maybe leasing options where we could turn over computers more often or technology more often, and maybe diverting funds from some areas where if we became more electronic, we would use less paper, and we might have less of a need for textbooks that could be used for access information through the internet and other resources. So,
everybody had a lot of the same things down. For task number 1, we did vote it as a 4, and it was pointed out that waiting any longer will only result in higher costs. I think we all applaud St. Joseph's School District for doing this 10, 15 years ago. And also, this is an opening of a new method of learning. They're doing it in colleges. They're going to need to know this before they even get to high school. One of the biggest problems that we thought of was that where is this in our teachers' curriculum? They're going to need to know how to teach this. And someone else had mentioned reading and writing. That has to be in a factor also. And then they're going to have to also teach how to do the communications of the technologies. So.
Our group had a lot of the similar ideas of competing in a global economy and having it as a high need for a comprehensive technology plan. One of the ideas that we thought about in Task 4 was to perhaps utilize organizations to have computer labs where they may have after-school programs like the Wesley Center, Mid-City Excellence, or other places to have an open lab for students who can't afford a computer or the connection.
Thank you for giving us your time this evening. I want to let you know when our next meeting is. It's Tuesday, June 1st from 6 to 8:30 at Lafayette, or Saturday, June 5th from 9 to 11:30 at Central, and our topic is going to be finances. The facilitating team has decided to add 30 minutes to the June meetings on finance to allow more time to address and discuss this important topic. So the time allotment for our June meetings then is 2.5 hours instead of 2 hours. And if you have friends or family members who couldn't attend this session but want to participate, just a reminder that this session will be repeated on Saturday morning, May 15th from 9 to 11, and that will be at Benton High School. Also following that Saturday morning session at Benton, PACT is sponsoring a technology fair from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And high-tech educational tools of the future will be demonstrated in a series of booths. You will be able to see how today and tomorrow's students will be utilizing high-tech tools in their learning. In the meantime, please feel free to share your thoughts and your ideas with any of us serving on the facilitating team. We want to make this process as meaningful and productive as possible, so we appreciate your feedback. So you have a blue sheet, that participant survey, and there is a front and back to that survey. If you could fill that out and leave that on the table, that would be a great help to us. Also, if you have any I have a question forms, please remember to leave that on the table, and we will get that answer to you. And if you will, please leave your table assignment numbers in the basket on your table. So again, thank you for coming, and we hope you'll be able to join us for our meeting in June on finances.